The London School of Economics and Political Science is a public research university located in London, England and a constituent college of the Federal University of London. Founded in 1895 by Fabian Society members Sidney Webb, Beatrice Webb, Graham Wallas and George Bernard Shaw for the betterment of society, LSE joined the University of London in 1900 and first issued degrees to its students in 1902. Despite its name, LSE conducts teaching and research across a range of legal studies and social sciences in 26 academic departments or institutes including mathematics, statistics, law, media, human geography, public affairs and international history. LSE is located in Westminster, central London, near the boundary between Covent Garden and Holborn. The area is historically known as Clare Market. It has 10,600 students and just over 3,000 staff and had a total income of £299.6 million in 2014-15, of which £27.1 million was from research grants. 155 nationalities are represented amongst LSE's student body and the school boasts the highest percentage of international students out of all British universities. The school is organized into constituent academic departments and 25 research centers. The school is recognized as one of the leading social science universities in the world, ranked among the top universities nationally and in the world, according to the Research Excellence Framework published in 2014. The school has the highest proportion of world-leading research among all British non-specialist universities. LSE is considered part of the Golden Triangle of highly research-intensive English universities. It is a member of academic organizations such as the Association of Commonwealth Universities, the European University Association and the Russell Group. The LSE has produced many notable alumni in the fields of law, history, economics, philosophy, business, literature, media and politics. Alumni and staff include heads of state government, 28 members of the current British House of Commons and 46 members of the current House of Lords. To date, 26% of all the Nobel Prizes in economics have been awarded to LSE alumni and current and former staff. Out of all European universities, LSE has educated the most billionaires according to a 2014 global census of billionaires. History. Origins. The London School of Economics was founded in 1895 by Beatrice and Sidney Webb, initially funded by a bequest of £20,000 from the estate of Henry Hunt Hutchinson. Hutchinson, a lawyer and member of the Fabian Society, left the money in trust, to be put towards advancing its objects in any way they deem advisable. The 5 trustees were Sidney Webb, Edward Pease, Constance Hutchinson, William de Matos and William Clark. LSE records that the proposal to establish the school was conceived during a breakfast meeting on the 4th of August 1894, between the Webbs, Graham Wallas and George Bernard Shaw. The proposal was accepted by the trustees in February 1895 and LSE held its first classes in October of that year in rooms at 9 John Street, Adelphi, in the city of Westminster. 20th century. The school joined the Federal University of London in 1900, becoming the university's Faculty of Economics and awarding degrees of the university from 1902. Expanding rapidly over the following years, the school moved initially to the nearby 10 Adelphi Terrace, then to Clare Market and Houghton Street. The foundation stone of the old building, on Houghton Street, was laid by King George V in 1920. The building was opened in 1922. The 1930s economic debate between LSE and Cambridge is well known in academic circles. Rivalry between academic opinion at LSE and Cambridge goes back to the school's roots when LSE's Edwin Cannon, professor of economics, and Cambridge's professor of political economy, Alfred Marshall, the leading economist of the day, argued about the bedrock matter of economics and whether the subject should be considered as an organic whole. The dispute also concerned the question of the economist's role, and whether this should be as a detached expert or a practical advisor. LSE and Cambridge lawyers and economists worked jointly in the 1920s, for example, the London and Cambridge Economic Service, but the 1930s brought a return to the dispute as LSE and Cambridge argued over the solution to the economic depression. LSE's Lionel Robbins and Friedrich Hayek, and Cambridge's John Maynard Keynes were chief figures in the intellectual disagreement between the institutions. The controversy widened from deflation versus demand management as a solution to the economic problems of the day, to broader conceptions of economics and macroeconomics. Robbins and Hayek's views were based on the Austrian school of economics with its emphasis on free trade and anti-interventionism, while Keynes advanced a brand of economic theory now known as Keynesianism, which advocates active policy responses by the public sector. During World War II, the school decamped from London to the University of Cambridge, occupying buildings belonging to Peterhouse. The school's arms, including its motto and beaver mascot, were adopted in February 1922, on the recommendation of a committee of 12, including 8 students, which was established to research the matter. The Latin motto, Rerum Cognoscere Causes, is taken from Virgil's Georgics. Its English translation is to know the causes of things, and it was suggested by Professor Edwin Cannon. The beaver mascot was selected for its associations with foresight, constructiveness and industrious behavior. 21st century LSE continues to have a wide impact within British society, through its relationships and influence in politics, business and law. The Guardian describes such influence when it stated, "Once again the political clout of the school, which seems to be closely wired into Parliament, Whitehall and the Bank of England, is being felt by ministers." The strength of LSE is that it is close to the political process. Mervyn King was a former LSE professor. The chairman of the House of Commons Education Committee, Barry Shearman, sits on its board of governors, along with Labour peer Lord Judd. Also on the board are Tory MPs Virginia Bottomley and Richard Shepherd, as well as Lord Saatchi and Lady Howe. Commenting in 2001 on the rising status of the LSE, the British magazine The Economist stated that 2 decades ago the LSE was still the poor relation of the University of London's other colleges. Now, it regularly follows Oxford and Cambridge in league tables of research output and teaching quality, and is at least as well known abroad as Oxbridge. According to the magazine, the school owes its success to the single-minded, American-style exploitation of its brand name and political connections by the recent directors, particularly Mr. Giddens and his predecessor, John Ashworth, and raises money from foreigner students' high fees, which are attracted by academic stars such as Richard Sennett. Recently, the school has been active in opposing British government proposals to introduce compulsory ID cards, researching into the associated costs of the scheme, and shifting public and government opinion on the issue. The institution is also popular with politicians and MPs to launch new policy, legislation and manifesto pledges, prominently with the launch of the Liberal Democrats Manifesto Conference under Nick Clegg on the 12th of January 2008. 2010 to present. In the early 2010s, its academics have been at the forefront of both national and international government consultations, reviews and policy, including representation on the UK Airports Commission, Independent Police Commission, Migration Advisory Committee, UN Advisory Board on Water and Sanitation, London Finance Commission, HS2 Limited, the UK Government's Infrastructure Commission, and advising on architecture and urbanism for the London 2012 Olympics. It has ranked in the top 4 best global universities according to employers for the past 5 years. The vast majority of LSE students are engaged in employment or further study within 6 months of graduating, and the school is listed first for employability in the 2012 Sunday Times Good University Guide. The most common sectors for LSE graduates to work in within 6 months of graduating are banking, finance and accountancy, development, NGOs and international organizations, consultancy, education, and central and local government. In addition, the average starting salary of graduates who have completed both undergraduate and graduate degrees with LSE is significantly higher than the overall national average salary, with £28,100 and £35,400. Craig Calhoun took up the post of director in September 2012. Its previous director, Judith Rees, is also chair of the school's Grantham Institute on Climate Change, and an advisor to the World Bank, as well as sitting on the UN Secretary-General's Advisory Board on Water and Sanitation and the International Scientific Advisory Council. She is also a former convener of the Department of Geography and Environment, and served as deputy director from 1998 to 2004. In 2013, the Grimshaw International Relations Society was caught in a furore over a BBC Panorama documentary on North Korea, filmed inside the repressive regime, which had been sanctioned by high-level DPRK officials. The edutainment trip caused international media attention, as a BBC journalist was posing as a professor from LSE covertly. There was debate as to where this put the students' lives in jeopardy in the repressive regime if a reporter had been exposed. The North Korea government made hostile threats towards the students and LSE after the publicity, which forced an apology from the BBC. Controversy. Calhoun's predecessor, Sir Howard Davis, stepped down after controversy regarding the school's links to the Libyan regime. In February 2011, LSE had to face the consequences of awarding a PhD to Saif al-Islam Gaddafi, one of Muammar Gaddafi's sons, while accepting a £1.5 million donation to the university from his family. In March 2011, Howard Davis resigned over allegations about the institution's links to the Libyan regime. The LSE announced in a statement that it had accepted his resignation with great regret, and that it had set up an external inquiry into the school's relationship with the Libyan regime and Saif al-Islam Gaddafi, to be conducted by the former Lord Chief Justice Harry Wolff. In August 2015, it was revealed that the university was paid approximately £40,000 for a glowing report is for Camila Batmanghelaj's charity, Kids Company. The study was used by Batmanghelaj to prove that the charity provided good value for money and was well managed. However, the university did not disclose that the study was funded by the charity, and claims made by the report have since been discredited. Campus and estate. Since 1902, LSE has been based at Clare Market and Houghton Street in Westminster. It is surrounded by a number of important institutions, including the Royal Courts of Justice, Lincoln's Inn, Royal College of Surgeons, Sir John Soane's Museum, British Museum, London's Theatreland and the shops of Covent Garden and the West End. In 1920, King George V laid the foundation of the old building, which remains the principal building on campus, though the focus of the campus has moved towards the adjacent Lincoln's Inn Fields in recent years. The campus now occupies an almost continuous group of around 30 buildings between Kingsway and the Aldwych. Alongside teaching and academic space, the institution also owns 11 student halls of residence across London, 2 public houses, a West End theatre, early years centre, NHS medical centre and extensive sports ground in Berrylands, South London. The school's campus is noted for its numerous public art installations, which include Richard Wilson's Square the Block, Michael Brown's Blue Rain, Christopher Lebrun's Desert Window. Since the early 2000s, the entire campus has undergone an extensive refurbishment project, and a major fundraising campaign for LSE raised over £100 million in what was one of the largest university fundraising exercises outside North America. This process was begun with the £35 million renovation of the Lionel Robbins building by Sir Norman Foster to house the British Library of Political and Economic Science, the world's largest social science and political library and the second largest single-entity library in Britain, after the British Library at King's Cross. In 2003, LSE purchased the former public trustee building at 24 Kingsway, and engaged Sir Nicholas Grimshaw to redesign it into an ultramodern educational facility at a total cost of over £45 million, increasing the size of the campus by 120,000 square feet. The new academic building opened for teaching in October 2008, with an official opening by Her Majesty the Queen and the Duke of Edinburgh on 5 November 2008. In November 2009, the school purchased the adjacent Sardinia House to house 3 academic departments in the nearby Old White Horse Public House, before acquiring the freehold of the Grade II listed Land Registry building at 32 Lincoln's Inn Fields in October 2010, which was reopened in March 2013 by HRH the Princess Royal as the new home for the Department of Economics, International Growth Centre and its associated economic research centres. The first new building on the site for more than 40 years, the Source Weehawke Student Centre, opened in January 2014 following an architectural design competition managed by Reba Competitions. The building provides new accommodation for the LSE Students' Union, LSE Accommodation Office and LSE Careers Service, as well as a bar, events space, gymnasium, rooftop terrace, learning cafe, dance studio and media centre. The building, designed as a showpiece for the city of Westminster and Midtown, was recognised as having a low environmental impact, receiving an outstanding status under BIEEAM, and in 2012 was one of 3 winners of the New London Award in the education category. In May 2014, the Source Weehawke Student Centre won the Reba London Building of the Year award. It is currently embarking on the biggest redevelopment and expansion in its 120-year history, with the development of a £120 million new facility, designed by Rogers Sturck Harbour and AMP Partners following the completion of a global design competition managed by Reba Competitions. Once complete in 2018, the new development, the Global Centre for the Social Sciences, will house the Departments of Government, International Relations and the European Institute and feature a new square at the centre of the campus. In September 2013, LSE purchased the freehold of 44 Lincoln's Inn Fields, currently the home of the Francis Crick Institute's laboratories, which will vacate in 2016. The building will be demolished in 2017 to make way for the new Paul Marshall building, which will house academic departments, sports facilities and the new Marshall Institute for Philanthropy and Social Entrepreneurship. In 2015 it brought its ownership of buildings on Lincoln's Inn Fields to 6, with the purchase of 5 Lincoln's Inn Fields on the north side of the square. The campus has been used as a film location for television and film, including Party Animals and Jack Ryan, Shadow Recruit, and is features regularly on national and international news. Location and transport. LSE is situated in the city of Westminster between Covent Garden, Aldwych and Temple Bar, bordering the City of London. It encompasses much of Lincoln's Inn Fields and lies adjacent to the Royal Courts of Justice and Kingsway on what used to be Clare Market. The school lies within the London Congestion Charge Zone. The nearest London Underground stations are Holborn, Temple and Covent Garden, Charing Cross at the Trafalgar Square end of Strand, and the City Thames Link entrance at Ludgate Hill are the nearest mainline stations, whilst London Waterloo is a walker bus across the River Thames. Buses to Aldwych, Kingsway and the Royal Courts of Justice contain stops which are designated as Alight Here for LSE. Organisation and administration. Governance. Although LSE is a constituent college of the Federal University of London, it is in many ways comparable with freestanding, self-governing and independently funded universities, and it awards its own degrees. LSE is incorporated under the Companies Act as a company limited by guarantee and is an exempt charity within the meaning of Schedule 2 of the Charities Act 1993. The principal governance bodies of the LSE are the LSE Council, the Court of Governors, the Academic Board, and a Director and Directors Management Team. The LSE Council is responsible for strategy and its members are company directors of the school. It has specific responsibilities in relation to areas including the monitoring of institutional performance, finance and financial sustainability, audit arrangements, estate strategy, human resource and employment policy, health and safety, educational character and mission, and student experience. The Council is supported in carrying out its role by a number of committees which report directly to it. The Court of Governors deals with certain constitutional matters and has pre-decision discussions on key policy issues and the involvement of individual governors in the school's activities. The court has the following formal powers: the appointment of members of court, its subcommittees and of the council, election of the chair and vice-chairs of the court and council and honorary fellows of the school, the amendment of the memorandum and articles of association, and the appointment of external auditors. The academic board is LSE's principal academic body, and considers all major issues of general policy affecting the academic life of the school and its development. It is chaired by the director, with staff and student membership, and is supported by its own structure of committees. The vice-chair of the academic board serves as a non-director member of the council and makes a termly report to the council. Director and president. The director is the head of LSE and its chief executive officer, responsible for executive management and leadership on academic issues. Since 2013, the addition of the name president has also been adopted alongside signaling an additional title more widely understood when traveling or undertaking business globally. The director and president reports to and is accountable to the council. The director is also the accountable officer for the purposes of the Higher Education Funding Council for England Financial Memorandum. The school's current director is the American sociologist Craig Calhoun, who will stand down in July 2016. The director and president is supported by deputy director and provost, who oversees the heads of academic academic departments and institutes, 3 pro-directors each with designated portfolios, and the school secretary who acts as company secretary. Academic departments and institutes. LSE's research and teaching is organized into a network of independent academic departments established by the LSE Council, the school's governing body, on the advice of the Academic Board, the school's senior academic authority. There are currently 26 academic departments or institutes. Finances. In the financial year ended the 31st of July 2014, LSE had a total income of £279.1 million and total expenditure of £261 million. Key sources of income included £153.3 million from tuition fees, £24.4 million from funding council grants, £27 million from research grants, and £5.8 million from endowment and investment income. During the 2013-14 financial year, LSE had a capital expenditure of £95 million. Academic year. Unlike many other British universities, LSE continues to adopt a 3-term structure and has not moved to semesters. Michaelmas term runs from October to mid-December, then term from mid-January to late March, and summer term from late April to mid-June. Certain departments operate reading weeks in early November and mid-February. Guard, arms and mascot. LSE's present red block logo was adopted as part of a rebrand in the early 2000s, before which the school's coat of arms was used exclusively to represent the institution. As a trademarked brand, it is carefully protected but can be produced in various forms to reflect different requirements. In its full form, it contains the full name of the institution to the right of the block with a further small empty red square at the end. But it is adapted for each academic department or professional service division to provide a cohesive brand across the institution. The school's historic coat of arms is still used on official documentation including degree certificates and transcripts, and includes the motto, Rerum cognoscere causes, a line taken from Virgil's Georgics meaning, to know the causes of things, together with the school's mascot, a beaver. Both these symbols, adopted in February 1922, continue to be held in high regard to this day, with the beaver chosen because of its representation as a hard-working and industrious yet sociable animal, attributes that the founders hoped LSE students to both possess and aspire to. The school's weekly newspaper is still entitled The Beaver. Rosebery Residence Hall's bar is called the Tipsy Beaver, and LSE sports teams are known as the Beavers. The institution has 2 sets of colors, brand and academic, red being the brand color used on signage, publications and in buildings across campus, and purple, black and gold for academic purposes including presentation ceremonies and graduation dress. Institutions with permission to teach the diploma. There are various institutions throughout the world that are in agreement with LSE to award the Diploma in Economics and Social Sciences by LSE, after meeting all the academic and institutional requirements, along with the use of LSE logo on their advertising and promotional material.